Hi, it's Marilyn at Way to Make It Happen. Have you ever tried to explain the concept of neuroplasticity to a novice? No? Then how about trying to explain how intermittent fasting works to someone who just couldn't get it? You know, you tell your friends how the insulin level drops, the body eventually shifts into a state of ketosis and starts using fatty acids as its main source of energy instead of glucose, and how this gradually decreases the body fat percentage. Did they get it? Why is this? It's because you suffer from the curse of knowledge. Now, what exactly is the curse of knowledge? It means when you know things that the other person does not, and you've forgotten what it's like not to have this knowledge. This makes it harder for you to identify with other person's situation and explains things in a manner that is easily understandable to someone who is a novice. In other words, they're not going to get it because they don't know what you know. So when you suffer from the curse of knowledge, you assume that other people know the things that you do, and this causes you to believe that people understand you a whole lot better than they really do. They don't get it. Now, they did a psychological experiment to a group of students, and they were divided into two groups, tappers and listeners. And the tappers were asked to think of a song and to tap out the rhythm of the song on a table, while the listeners were asked to listen and figure out what song the tappers were tapping along to. Now, the tappers were 50% certain that the listeners would be able to identify the song they had in mind while they were tapping. But the results of the experiments were shocking. Only 2.5% of the listeners were able to figure out the song. In other words, the tappers overestimated their success ratio of being understood 20 times above how many times they actually were being understood. Now, if we apply these results to communication in general, it means that we think people understand what we're saying a hell of a lot more often than they actually do, because we're used to knowing the things that we know, and we expect other people to know it as well. So how does this work when you're trying to build a business? Well, let me ask you a question. Are you listening to the right people? I mean, there are some pretty fancy experts out there, more than willing to give you their advice, but you may not understand what they're talking about. For instance, when I first started my online marketing business, I found some experts and I started listening to them. I soon realized that I didn't know a darn thing about what they were talking about. They assumed I knew how to set up a fan page and a timeline page. They assumed I knew all about sales funnels, opt-ins, campaigns, and a whole bunch of other network stuff. Well, the truth was I didn't. And they ended up not helping me at all, and I got nowhere real fast. It means that the people who are being listened to aren't usually the ones in the best position to give advice. We tend, however, to listen to people whom we perceive to have authority, and we get that by social proof, to establish their credibility. We know they're popular, they're on the internet all over the place, and that actually often works quite well, but not always. So why doesn't it work? And why wouldn't I want to take advantage of someone who has a clear track record of success? The reason why it doesn't always work out that well is due to what I call the student-master dilemma. And this dilemma often occurs when a person who is highly skilled in a particular field of knowledge is trying to teach, inform, or instruct beginners about what they should do to get better. And in theory, it's a sure thing that you'd want to be instructed by one of these masters, but in practice, it might not be the best thing because the master tends to suffer from the curse of knowledge. Bill Gates has moved through the competence ladder far too many times to be able to accurately explain to you about all the things he's doing that did contribute to his overall success. So what I'm saying is that due to the curse of knowledge, Bill Gates would just assume that I know how to start a business, write a business plan, and all of those other fundamental things, but I don't. So who should I choose to guide me in starting my network marketing business, my online business? Well, if you go with the student master analogy, would you have Bill Gates as your master telling you that you'll be successful? Or would you rather have a less successful master who could explain to you exactly what it is you're doing wrong and direct you toward the next step in your journey to success? I know who I choose. I would choose someone who is recently going through the ranks of growth in his business, working his way to success, and who is very close to all the knowledge it takes to get there. In other words, he's going to explain to me what a funnel is. He's going to know all of these things, and he's going to be able to relate them to me, identify them, and inspire me to the right action. So be careful who you're choosing to be your coach. And some of us that are in the coaching business are close enough to the ranks, to the beginners, to our own experience to be able to help you one step at a time, no matter from where you start, and get you to the very top. And this, my friends, is the way to make it happen. And thank you so much for being with me.